Sorry, I'm still working on the kinks. There we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Paintball Lounge, where the voice of Louisiana Paintball. I'm here today with the legends of Twister or Committed Paintball, however you want to call them. What's up, guys?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing great. How about y'all?
Not too bad.
Doing well? Doing
Yeah,
well?
yeah. I mean, I just watched y'all's drop. I saw y'all drop. I was there.
Oh, what we just announced with I Hate Paintball? Yeah, that's coming up this Friday, actually. So we were just kind of showing everything off that we want. We were really proud of that everything we're putting together with Joe and everybody over there, So just want to show it off and get a little bit of attention to Joe's brand. Obviously, it's an up and coming brand, and we believe in what they're doing over there. So we're happy that we can help out in any way we can. So
Of course. So let's get this show on the road with this. Like, how it all started with y'all. Like, how long y'all been in the industry of paintball?
This is more you than
you
I'll go.
want to start first until we get to that point?
You
Okay.
go first.
All right. So I have been playing paintball since I was 9 years old. So in 1992, I'm 42 now. I played at Boston Paintball. I was a customer at Boston Paintball up until I was 19 years old, where I started working for the company. Started at the bottom, referee. Just kind of worked my way up. I've pretty much had every job at the company. I've run every pro shop that we've had pretty much over the past 20 some odd years. And I was always just a massive fan of custom guns. When I was younger and going into Boston Paintball's pro shops in downtown Boston, they were making custom autocockers, and that was like the coolest thing to me, that everybody had this unique one-off style and like these wild anos and chrome parts, and everything was like unique, and you never saw two that were the same. And that always was really cool to me. But by the time I joined the company, I think it was 2003, 2004, they had already phased out of doing custom guns. So at that point, they put all their efforts into their playing fields, their tournament series, getting more people into the game, exposing more people to our company and into paintball in general. And it wasn't until many, many years later, I think about 2013, 2012, I was working two jobs. It was my side job. And Anthony Vitale, the president of Boston Paintball, had reached out to me and said, hey, we'd like to bring it back on full time. We want to start this online store called Committed. Boston Paintball's motto for years has been committed since 1992, right? So they decided Committed was going to be the name. And I said to him, there's absolutely no way that we're going to be able to be competitive against an A&S or some of the bigger companies that were out there. And I told him, if we're going to do this, we're going to do custom guns again. And that was the first step into what we've built out now. So we did 150 LV1 twisters back in 2013-14, and it took us about a year and a half to sell 150 guns, if you can believe it. I couldn't give them away back then, but it started this thing that we make limited drops, and then we did the autococker after that and built those out, and then CS1, and then Axes, Vanquishes, and CS2s, and we kind of built up to the point where it's a little serendipitous, I guess. But when COVID hit, the indoor playing field that we were based out of had shut down. So we kind of made the decision that even though we can't operate the playing field, we can't have people inside, we can still run Committed. So we decided to move forward with doing the GO4 and the LV 1.6. And at that point, Austin, who was a customer at the time, just kind of playing at the field and going to college in Boston, we needed help to build these guns. We had no manpower, right? It was just me. So he asked if he could come help out. And as part of his internship for his business degree at college, he came on board, and I figured he would just kind of show up and maybe pack a couple boxes. That would be it. And he stuck through the whole thing, and we built, a couple hundred guns and delivered everything. And I think between that and Facebook Live events and just developing how we do things now, Austin just kept showing up.
Yeah.
So
Uber into the indoor field.
Yep.
4 days a week.
So basically, we were just kind of a two-man show. We bring in some help, some buddies that maybe weren't working at the time either, and we trudged all the way through. And that, to be honest, that gun run pretty much, I don't want to say saved our company, but that indoor fields, that was a $30,000 a month rent that we needed to offset, and a major gun release basically saved us in that respect. And we finally closed that location which was sad. But at the same time, silver lining, we relocated all of our operations just for Twister and Custom up here to Tewksbury, Massachusetts, which is about 15, 20 minutes north of Boston.
Mhm.
And we, ironically enough, both of us live 4 minutes down the road from here. So we rented the space. And as we've grown over the past couple of years, we keep renting adjoining spaces and knocking down walls and making it a little bit bigger. But I mean, that's kind of where we're at now, right? I mean, Austin can kind of pick up from when he came back, but he had he had left after COVID and he had went further into the industry with some other people. But I'll let Austin kind of show his background in paintball.
So I was a college student from 2017 to 2021. Come senior year, I needed an internship. I was playing paintball a little bit here and there, but I played basketball in college, so I never really got into paintball. It was always basketball from the time I could dribble up until I was graduating college. And pretty much COVID hit. I had an internship lined up with the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta. That shut the aquarium down. They transferred my internship to the New England Aquarium in Boston. That aquarium shut down. And buddies were losing internships like crazy. And I needed one to graduate. So I called him. And I remember just being on the phone like, hey, I know you have a gun drop coming up. Let me help out. I need it. You probably need the help. Let's just make this work. And then that turned into me showing up to the shop probably 4 or 5 days a week, late nights, knocking out the internship, also knocking out all the gun work. Ended up graduating college. Again, COVID was still going on, so finding a job was tough. I actually got into teaching. I was teaching middle school at the time. Wasn't even working in the industry. I was just teaching. And then I applied for a job with Carbon and was actually working part-time for Carbon while was teaching. I moved into a high school role for that time being. I taught at high school for a year while I was teaching. While I was working with Carbon, and then stopped working with Carbon, came back to help him out, taught another year at high school at the same time, and then ended up going full time here. So I did about 3 years teaching after college while working in the industry as well.
It's pretty wild that we kind of had this discussion when he came back and he was still teaching, right? And he was teaching kind of local. I mean, he was probably 20 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
So he would teach all day, right? Going at whatever, 6 in the morning, whatever time.
6:30.
And then he would come in here after dealing with those kids, those inmates that you were dealing with all day, right? And then he would come here and we'd work all night. So it's pretty crazy. And that was when we were doing the CS3
in the LV2.
and the LV2.
Yeah.
And he had still, even through all last year, as busy as we were with DSRs and all this stuff, he still went all the way through until the summer, and that's when he stopped teaching full time now here. So that's a grind and a half and a dedication to your craft. But I think that we decided together that we were both kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out a little bit, and I think we had to have a discussion kind of heart to heart and said, hey, if we really start trying here, and this was last November, not this past November, November before, and said, listen, if we really started trying here, we could probably do something big. And I think the biggest problem we had with Twister is that we would only do guns. That's all we really did, right? Committed did some little things here and there, goggles and things like that. And that was for the first couple of years, first 8 years. We decided, like, what if we did a membership? What if we took our best customers and gave them the opportunity to really be part of what we're doing here, take their feedback and things like that. And once we did that, it forced us to do a monthly drop that was going to be a soft good and a hard good. Every single month we had to deliver a hard good, a soft good. That's why we had, all the things last year. We did a DSR, we did a collab with Enemy with soft goods. We did a loader, we did packs, multiple guns, and all sorts of really cool things. And I think that is really the formula has worked, right? It allows us to engage a lot with our customers, do really, really cool stuff, make some very unique guns, and it makes people want to work with us, right? And the collaborative nature now of our company is nothing like we had in the past. We were very good about getting in front of a camera and doing Facebook Lives with our little Twister owners group and reaching out and doing some stuff. But once we started really getting on Instagram, like he runs all of our media now is basically Austin. So any video you see, any piece of media, any team stuff, it's all him. That's his entire arm of the company. So our success in the last 2 years is wholly because of his efforts and how much he's put into this. So I mean, we obviously it allows me a little bit to focus more on the product design stuff and the rollout and figure out shipping. We have to ship 1,000 things and things like that. I can figure out the logistics, but I think without telling each other what our lanes are. We both stay in our lanes, and when we have to cross over and do things, we do. But we, inside and outside of here, we're friends, right? So like we work really well together. Our communication is really good.
That makes it easier. Makes it a lot
It
easier.
makes it much easier.
Yeah.
And I know this location alone, I mean, we wanted to take that same mentality that we had when we were building guns during COVID with no rules, no hours, nobody overseeing us. And we basically built a clubhouse here. I mean, I'll walk you around if I could, but it's a mess. And I got some prototype stuff laying around. But I mean, we have an Xbox in front of us. We've got multiple TVs. Like, and we don't, I mean, we get a lot of work done. It's that because we're always working, but it's this clubhouse mentality where our friends will just come and show up and help us out for the day, right? Because it's comfortable. People just want to chill.
Right.
But we still get a lot done. It's nobody wants that cubicle environment, right? Where it just feels like you're, cattle, you're a number. We've all had those jobs and they suck and it's soul sucking and you can't leave fast enough at the end of the day. But here it's like we just leave when it's time to leave and it's not really a hassle. We come in when we want to come in,
Right.
and we can have lives. My kids can come here, our friends can come here. It's not a problem, But I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, I mean,
else, but
I think having that mentality too, it allows us to get a lot of stuff done. Like he was saying last year when we kind of first were like, all right, let's go for it. We did a hard good and soft good every month. After, I don't know, 3 months of that last year, we were kind of like, okay, we're going to have to do this for another 9 months. So going into this year, we've kind of pivoted a little bit. So instead of doing hard good, soft good every month, it's more so just about putting 100% effort into whatever that good is for the month. And I think that's really opened it up too. That way, when we do come in, we're full gas on whatever the project is. We know what we have to get done. Whether it's him doing some of the design work or me starting to research how we should market it, or maybe even looking into different brands that we can collab with in the future. Kind of like with I Hate Paintball. That was one of the things where that was just, I think, me scrolling on Instagram and came across them. And I knew kind of through a mutual friend within me, the state, that they had worked together. And then we kind of went full bore into that. And while we're working on that project, we're also doing several other things at the same time, like the release of the Smoke Revo, the Vortex cores, other projects that are coming up. So we're always having something on the list to knock out.
Well, dang. I mean, yeah, because I saw what y'all doing with I Hate Paintball, and I know I Hate Paintball. I'm actually sponsored by them because I help them out, they help me out. That's how we do it. But no, y'all stuff is like, when y'all drop it, I'm like, that fucking looks sick as motherfucker. Like, I actually bought when y'all drop the carbon pants, the SC 3.0. I have one.
Yep.
I got it from y'all. And
Cool.
I wear it every single day. And well, not every single day. I wish I could, but it was just, I love the style of it. Now, my thing is this: why the tornado? Like, why the twist? Like the logo of the twister, like, and
So,
as well as on the gun.
if you want to go into like the history of the entire brand, it's actually kind of hilarious how this has started. So Boston Paintball originally was making guns called the Express, right? And it was named after New England Express, which was like, that was the big team in New England at the time. And the two owners of our company, Anthony Vitale and Matteo Gallo, they both played on the team. So they started making guns for the team. And then that expanded to like, wow, you guys have a Bridgeport machine. They were up on the 6th floor of a big warehouse in downtown Boston. And it's actually where the Converse headquarters are now. So if you actually type in Converse headquarters Boston, that's exactly where Boston Paintball started. So they used to be up there. They had a little indoor playing field, but it was like a lot of bachelor parties calling at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, we're in the elevator. We want to come play. And they would go open up for a bachelor party to play. Like, that's the roots of Boston Paintball, how it started, right? But they made this gun called the Express, and then they grew pretty big. They ended up being right up there with the Shock Tech and some of these other bigger companies. And they were approached by a gentleman from a company that at the time wasn't really named. His name is Sergey. Sergey actually runs Lapco, LA Paintball Company. So you guys probably know the Grey Ghost. You know some of the guns they've done. And he had some very high level machines, like 3-axis mills, like crazy stuff that at the time in the late 90s, nobody had access to that. These are multi-million-dollar, like, government level machines. So he had a passion for paintball, and he was kind of going around to all these different paintball companies and going, hey, I can get a design for you, and this could be your design. This is the only thing. And they came to Boston Paintball, and they had a big amount of designs, and they saw this gun that had this kind of really tight, kind of twisty, repeating pattern over it, and they said, "Wow, that looks like a twister. I think we'll take that one." And then it evolved. They started making. They'd get a batch of 50 guns and blank canvases. People would build them out. It was the lightest gun at the time in terms of autocockers. Then they did the performance stuff on it. And then they did a couple different variants of it. They did, a couple different mills and some shorter ones, longer ones, P blocks, standard blocks. They kind of evolved from there into doing some really high performance stuff with the reflex trigger. It was a fully automatic autococker. That was the answer to electronic guns at the time. The gun was so advanced that it actually got banned from tournaments after one tournament in Skyball. They banned the gun outright. And now Boston Paintball is sitting on a lot of trigger frames they couldn't sell because they were illegal now everywhere you're going to go and play. So after that, they got a kind of a bad taste in their mouth and decided to leave custom guns. That was in probably 2001, 2002, and nobody had picked it back up again until I came along in 2012 to start it back up. So about a little over a decade later, I said, the Twister can come back, and I think it can be something cool, and we can reinvent it and do some branding to it and bring it to a new generation. And that's kind of where it goes. And I mean, that's why you have a Tornado, right? It's a Twister. And even some of the guns like the autococker we just released, the F6. Ironically enough, if you hold the gun down, if you're just standing it stationary, it goes from big to small, and it looks like a tornado. And I don't think a lot of people know that. Once they build their guns and they get some pictures of them, they'll probably realize it. But we had to figure out how you can, over the years, reinvent this thing, right? And figure out how you can make it look like a Twister, but not make it look like the last gun you just did. So we've had a lot of iterations of it. If you look at just the CS1 up to the R5, we've done 4 or 5 different variants of it up to the R5 now, which is the smallest and lightest. Now with the Vortex Core, the best performing spool you can get on the market right now from Planet Eclipse. So we're now getting back into performance parts again. That's kind of a cool thing, and partnering with great people like Method and and Carbon and Deadly Wind and like some people that can Techna, some guys that can do what we can't do here. We don't have the abilities here. We don't have the machines they used to have back in the day. So I think partnering with people, good people, it elevates everybody. So I think that's how Twister has become what it is now. I think we're getting back to our roots and always remember where we came from, but still making some cool, unique stuff that we hope people like, so.
Oh yeah, and I believe that y'all have been doing a really great job. And in fact, I wish I had the money. But when y'all, teamed up with Hurricanes, that acid gun of the CS3, I wanted it. I was like in love with it. And I was actually shocked that Twister, y'all and Hurricanes were collaborating together to come out with their guns and stuff like that. So what was the story about that? Like, how did you and the Hurricanes got together?
You want to take this one?
I can take it.
Yeah.
So when I was working for Carbon, they were a Carbon team. The Hurricanes were. They're using the pod packs and the protective.
Of course.
And then when I decided to kind of get back into this a little bit, when I came over here, we started looking into picking up some teams for last season because we knew that the goal was to eventually have a team program of kind of like a selected team program like we have now. And the Hurricanes just kind of made sense for a few reasons. One, just branding alone, it makes perfect sense.
Storm, yeah.
Storm, yeah, sure. I knew of them. I knew they were pretty good guys just through my work with Carbon. I knew they're pretty down to earth dudes. They're not like the big egos and very humble guys. So we approached Drew Bankston with LAX. He's a longtime customer. He kind of brokered the deal, I guess, brokered the meetup, and then it just went from there. And those guys they're great. The whole team is phenomenal.
What's kind of amazing about how that materialized is that we always had the Heroines, because the Heroines are our team, Boston Paintball's team, right?
Without
Anthony Vitale, Laurie Miller, they run the Heroines, which basically that evolved from Team USA, which Boston Paintball also runs Team USA. They just grabbed the women's players and just went, here's some New Jerseys, stay together. So I mean, they're a phenomenal group of girls, every iteration, every time they add new people, and it recycles every year. I mean, they're all excellent, excellent people on and off the field. So we already knew like that's our pro team. We have a phenomenal women's team. They're arguably the best girls that have ever picked up guns. That's not even a question. I don't think people will even debate that.
Mm-mm.
But then we were kind of looking at, we were looking at pro teams and said, we want a men's team. And they have to be a Planet team. They have to be a JT team because we knew we were going to do the Revo. We knew we had some stuff coming.
JT preferred for that.
Preferred.
We knew the Revo, yeah.
Correct. Or a GI at least base
Something.
team.
Let's just
We had a
call it
lot of.
JT.
Yeah, we had a lot of. I'm friends with Pat Kraft. And friends with a lot of the MYX guys at the time. They're no longer. They're kind of defunct. Well, they're back, but are they back? Anyways, so at the time I was talking to Pat Kraft about a personal sponsorship, and I said, well, let's just back pocket that for a minute. Let's wait a month or two and let's just see. So we had some high level conversations, and I think we all kind of decided at the time because they were like the breakout team of the year, and they were a top
fourth.
Yeah, they were like a fourth or fifth place team. So we said, let's just put some effort into this and see how this would look. But then I watched the Hurricanes documentary. I remember watching that, and I remember watching some of these guys and said, you know what? I got a feeling these guys are going to do something special, and I just don't know when it's going to happen. But I think I want our gun to be in their hand when they do it. And they just seem like very genuine guys, and that's why I called Drew Bankston and just said, hey, listen, tell me about these guys a little bit. I know they play at your field. And Drew basically put a stamp of approval on. I said, that's good enough for me. And we called them, and they're like, you want to sponsor us? Like, for what? And I just told them exactly what I told you. I believe in those guys, and I kind of think that they were going to do something really special. They're on the precipice of it. And then go figure, they go to Las Vegas and almost win the tournament. The first time they pick up Twisters. Obviously, it's not the guns, right? It's the players. But for us, I can tell you, I as a grown man, I'm glad I had sunglasses on because when they wanted to get into the finals, I was weeping. That I didn't let anybody know, but I was. And you can ask my wife. I probably cried like 3 times in my life. So I mean, it was just such an amazing moment and such a it really it kind of validates all the work we put in, right? And it felt really, really good to have some good ambassadors for our brand, and I think it validated everything that we do. Here. So I mean, I'm more thankful for those guys than they could even know. I've told them any chance I get, but that whole crew and that year with Bianca and everybody, and I'm happy to continue with this year with the new coaching staff. They're great. But what a phenomenal group of guys and their families, like their spouses, everybody that comes and helps out. Every single person on that team is just phenomenal. They'll invite us to team dinners. Like we're just sponsors, but I think they look at us more like friends now, So we're happy, as long as they're a team, we will sponsor them forever. In my opinion, that's that's a no brainer. So,
Oh yeah, without doubt. Like the Hurricanes in my book, that's why it's not because they're like they're my hometown team. No, it's just I feel like the Hurricanes is one of the most teams that if you're a part of the Hurricanes, you are welcome to the Louisiana family, and we're just gonna hug you, like. And I was so excited when I saw that match. And I was sitting in the man cave, which is, how a man cave is, like TVs and stuff like that. And my best friend was actually watching with me, and he's looking at me. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "You don't understand. A New Orleans team going on to Las Vegas, going into the finals. That's never happened, especially us. And we're a low income kind of team." And he tells me, "You look like Sean Payton." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." Because my face was all red. Like I was tearing up. I was getting red and everything because, I love these guys. I watched them, how they how they are now. And, I love these guys like they're my brothers.
And of all the matches, I mean, what a phenomenal match! Like regardless of the outcome, obviously, right? Because they obviously lost the match at the end, but they pounded Dynasty into the ground. I mean, they really. Again, it's Dynasty, so I mean, it finally comes down to their experience. They have a lot more of it. Obviously, they've coaching and more preparation, and they're able to pivot really quickly and change game plans. And it's just they have maybe one extra secret game plan in their back pocket. That's all it takes for Dynasty to beat you. So, and they've done it to everybody. It's not just the Canes. They've done it to Russian Legion. They're the best teams of all time, excessive all the way up, right? It doesn't matter. So there's no there's not a badge of honor necessarily for losing to them. It's like it's still Dynasty. You got to go. You went toe to toe with arguably the greatest team that's ever played this sport, right? So I mean, to me, it's a win. To lose the Dynasty is still by 1 point, in overtime or whatever it ended up being, that's still a win. It's still validating for you and a big shot in the arm for you. And they did struggle a little bit for the rest of the season, but at the end of the day, they still proved they belong there and they are a contender every event. They shouldn't be looked down on at all. They should be feared. They can win at any time if they want to. So
Right.
That was kind of a cool event too. For another reason, with just their journey to get to the finals was great. It's an overtime match, 1-on-1, I think it came down to, and then they move into the finals. They had to play damage on the way there too. For us, we were like, our booth was a 20 by 10.
It's our first booth.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
sharing it with enemies, so it was a 10 by 10. And we were slammed. And we were just absolutely crazy busy. We're working all day. They're winning. They kept going. We kept debating when we should shut the booth down to go watch them instead. Like, it was kind of one of those things where, like, they had a breakout event in Vegas.
We had a breakout event in the
and
booth.
That was definitely
Yeah.
a breakout event for us, because then once we got back from Vegas, it was, the conversations were, hey, we can never do a 20 by 10 again.
We got to do bigger. We got to double the size of everything now.
We have to go bigger. We have to bring more inventory. We have to, have better drops and maybe focus a little bit more on events, since we can't just show up and sell stuff. Like, we actually have to really put effort into these, because that was our breakout event. And so for the rest of the year, I don't think we went to Texas, but I think we did the other ones.
Everything else.
Yeah, and
Yep.
every event from there on out was great. And then we go into this year with Tampa. Tampa started great for us at the booth, and then so far every event's been pretty good.
Yeah, we're I think it comes with Enemy of the State is great. They're an awesome group of guys. We had to obviously now plan with them, like, hey, when are you doing your drops? This is when we're going to do ours. What are you bringing to the event to do? What's special? We just don't want to like stomp on each other, right?
Right.
That's part of it. We don't want to like overshadow each other's stuff. So I think that a lot of vendors look at us and just go, how the fuck do you guys do that? You have a line of 150 people sitting in Atlantic City for a goggle, and it's like they've been waiting for 3 hours in the sun for the chance to buy it. It's kind of crazy, but we really appreciate all the people that embrace our stuff, and we sell it for what we need to make, and people will turn around and flip it, or they just say this is the value on it. That's pretty cool to us. It's not like we see any of that. We don't tell people make this $2,000. Like, that's not us. But it's cool. The only way you could gauge how people view your product is what the resale value is, right? And that's why we look at vintage Ferraris. They're $13 million, and a vintage, Cortina is $60. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's kind of the, to us, it's kind of cool in the modern age that there is still room for custom limited gun drops. And, I think that we try and keep raising the bar, because there's competition out there. There's other guys that do the same thing we do.
They do it well.
So they do it well too.
Yeah.
Not as much as y'all do it.
We do what we think is cool. They do what they think is cool. People vote with their wallet, and at the end of the day, that's that's how it is. So.
Yeah, it's like, it's Twister. Like, every time when someone has a Twister thing, it's like, I personally like is the milling. I'm not gonna lie, y'all have literally the best milling that in the game, like, of all time. I really believe that, because like, y'all take the idea of which gun and you actually try to work it out with it. Where some people who do the milling, they also have problems, because they usually, like, the cut of it will fuck up the bolt or something like that. But somehow when y'all drop a gun that's been twistified, or I call it, it's
Twistified. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that's a shirt.
That's a t-shirt.
That's a shirt.
Get Twisterfy. Hey. But no, when y'all do that, it's like, man, it still shoots the same, but it's like, it looks so sexy. I'm not gonna lie, it looks so sexy. And there was one gun, it was the CS3, and y'all had the black and blue, and I was like, I want it, like, because that's my color. I like black and blue, and everybody around Louisiana know me as the black and blue guy, because that's my favorite colors. And
so you're a little limited with some things, and I don't know if a lot of people may be watching this or people know it, maybe outside of the industry, but when you're working with, say, like a Planet Eclipse, right? Which we love Planet Eclipse. We've been working with them since the beginning. Everything they do, obviously, we want to do. But you're in a box, right? You have to stay in this box. They say you can machine a gun, we can do all these things for you, but you can't go outside of these parameters. Do we want to mill ASAs? Yeah. Do we want to mill feed necks? Yeah. Do I want to do all these things? Sure. But at the end of the day, Planet Eclipse has to go, listen, you design to these specs, and as long as you do that, we will warranty the gun anywhere you go. We want you to get the same amazing service that you get with any Planet Eclipse gun wherever you go. If you have your twister, we want you to be able to go to their booth and get it fixed, right? If you go too crazy, they're going to go, listen, like, we can't work on this. You guys have modified it to the point where like it's too past factory spec for warranty. So we have to work in this box. So we've gotten very creative with how we can work in this box, right? And that's part of the reason why, to be really honest with you, we end up being last in line sometimes because we go through so many changes. We watch other guys releasing guns. HK, you know, they buy the way to the front of the line, they go first, whatever. So we watch them release and go, oh, that's, I mean, they get 5 colors. And they didn't really do a barrel or a trigger or anything. We could probably add that. And we kind of watch everybody go before us. And it's still not too late usually to make some changes before we go to machining. Especially with the R5, you know, we had the ability to do something really cool in the fact that we can make it lighter than even a stock gun, which is, I don't think a private label has done that other than the GMAX Shocker years ago or whatever. So if you go pound for pound against a stock gun, we're 10 or 11 grams lighter than a stock gun. And once you start putting our carbon fiber triggers on and our carbon fiber tips, now you're getting really light. And then even the Vortex core, it's like lighter. It's like 3 grams lighter. So I mean, grams don't seem like a lot, but in it's like with cars, they'll release a car and be like, it's 200 pounds lighter or it's 50 pounds lighter, and that, you know, that's a race spec car, you know. I think the way that we look at it is the more we can do that the other guys aren't doing, maybe it elevates those guys to do a little bit better. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just decide throw in the towel and they're done with custom guns. We've been doing this long enough that, you know, we've seen a lot of people pop up and try and do what we do and then just go, I don't want to put that much work into it, and they just back off and they just go away. Other guys have come back full circle. When we first started doing the LV1s, Dark was doing Geo 2.5s, I think. They were only doing 2 colors. That's it. And we came in doing 60, right, with boot up screens and certificates and all this stuff. It makes it kind of hard to sell your gun when there's just somebody else doing so much more work. But some of these other companies, let's be real, paintball's their part-time job. You know, they have day jobs. They can't commit. They have families. They have other commitments. They can't put in the amount of effort that we do. This is our full-time job, 24 hours a day, literally 7 days a week. If there was an 8th day, we'd be working on that one too.
That's, I mean, we know it too. Like, that's a luxury for us. I mean, I was teaching and doing paintball at the same time, and it was insane. It's like, we know having the time and the resources is a luxury. Not everybody has it. Sometimes maybe a curse, but most of the time a luxury.
I mean, one of the biggest things, though, I mean, we obviously have an amazing support system with the guys above us, right? We obviously we make a lot of money just with guns that come in, but we, at the end of the day, have to be able to spend 100 grand in one whack to do something, right? Like to start a project. So the faith that our ownership has with what we're doing here, we're very much on an island here, right? They check on us, they do talk to us, but for the most part, the trust they have in what we do here is massive. I mean, for me to go to them and go, hey, I want to do an autococker last year, and they go, an autococker? Yeah, I'm going to do like 250 autocockers. They're like, okay. I'm like, I'm just going to, you know, pay it. It's whatever, 6 figures or whatever, you know, whatever it is to do it. And they don't even blink because they know that, like, we wouldn't do this if it wasn't going to work, right? So sometimes it's scary. Sometimes you work with people and go, I don't know. But, you know, we make the best of everything that we do, and I think that it's worked. And I think the support of obviously the people that buy our products and speaks for itself, right? We sell through. I think people like it. We take risks. The Vortex core was a massive risk. How do you improve something that is the best gun on the market, right? That's a huge risk. And how do you do it without maybe stepping on the toes of the guys that designed the original bolt, right? And Planet makes a great gun, but you know, Ford makes a great engine. Shelby makes a better engine. You know, they make a race engine. So, but doesn't make Ford upset, right? Ford still has to sell a Mustang to put that engine in it. So I think that, you know, we have a really good relationship with Planet Eclipse, and that affords us to do some things that are a little bit outside of the box without you know, jeopardizing our customer experience at the end of the day. So yeah.
So you said that you just said that the Vortex bolt was a huge risk. Why was it a huge risk? Like what's the whole insight on
Well, I mean, number one, it has to work, right? And it has to
Right.
work everywhere. So these guns are very temperamental, right?
Mhm.
Temperature wise, these guns fucking hate temperature swings,
Right.
especially cold weather.
And we live up in New England, so when we test things, usually we're testing in the winter.
Mhm.
So
It was,
we're
I think it was
testing-
19 degrees, 12 degrees in some of the tests that we were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
We had to basically get a batch of bolts. The original, I'll pull back the curtain for a second. The original plan was to include the bolts with every gun.
Mhm.
The gun was going to come with 2 bolts, a stock bolt and a vortex core. We could have potentially done it, but we knew the core wasn't tested enough. So we pushed it off a month or 2 after the release.
Yeah.
And that allowed us to take a bunch of test bolts and send them to everywhere, like California, Texas, Florida, up here in the Northeast, Louisiana. We had them everywhere. There was a ton of people testing these bolts with no one even knowing. And I thank all those guys and girls, by the way, because they really fucking helped us in a massive way. We Planet Eclipse typically, this isn't a secret. I mean, when they go out to test a gun, that they're working on, they're out there for like 6 to 8 months, maybe even longer, before they even go, hey, let's make this gun. So, and they have it all over the place. We had about 2 months to test with 10 people. And that required a lot of data gathering. We needed to figure out where they were testing it, what the humidity, what the temperature was, what they were chronoing at, when's the last time they serviced this, shot counts.
Yeah.
I mean, we crunched numbers like you would think we were launching a missile into fucking space. But we needed to make sure with this bolt that it worked, and it does, and it's pretty crazy. The guys over at Method, Jared and John are very talented guys, and meeting those guys at Cup, and then our relationship kind of developing since then has been great. They explain something very simply, and it actually makes the most sense. Planet Eclipse has to design an entire gun, right?
Right.
So they can't spend and hyper focus on one part of the gun. We could just take the bolt and just hyper focus on just the bolt for months, and that's all we did was just hyper focus on the bolt. I think at this point now, it allows us to put out small batches, make it manageable. Because let's face it, if you had a problem with your bolt at an event, there's a really good chance that Planet Eclipse isn't going to touch your gun because that's not their bolt. So there's only 2 of us at the event. So if you have a problem, I am now a tech.
Yep.
Right, and we're also running a booth with a line of 150 people.
And
So,
a team program with typically about 30 NXL teams.
so we needed to release enough that it was manageable if there were problems, and thankfully the problems were very isolated. Maybe a bad O-ring or something here and there, but like in the grand scheme of things, a overwhelming success.
Yeah.
So now it allows us to put out a little bit more, and then maybe we do some stuff in the future with other things that I don't know if we will or we won't. It was a good experiment to show that we're not one-trick ponies, right? I think at the very beginning, when we milled LV1s, a lot of people just said, well, you're just machining 2 sides of the gun, and that's all you're doing. There's nothing else magical in there, which was, I don't want to say true, but like it had the essence of what we used to do, right? We did the boards, and we had some cool little things. We tweaked some things in it. But at the end of the day, they were right. We couldn't do performance stuff. And you watch other guys do some performance things. Adrenaline has a great platform. They ran the Stalker, they ran the Lux. They did a lot of cool stuff. But outside of them, no one was really taking risks on drivetrain stuff. And I think that we're at the point now where that elevates our brand a little bit, that we're the only ones with it, because we put the R&D in, we put the work and the money in to do it. So I think it puts us maybe on another, I don't want to say another echelon, but I mean, it maybe puts us a little bit above stock everything else,
Another tool in the belt.
Exactly.
Something we can go back and maybe explore again later. Not necessarily an R5 bolt, but just performance upgrade in general.
But at the same time, we wanted to honor the guys that bought the guns that didn't get the bolts, because the intention was to have the bolts. So if you had one of the guns, your serial number on the gun was a discount code. So if you bought the bolt, you get a discount on it immediately. So we wanted to make sure we took care of the guys. Even though they didn't know that was the original intention, we still wanted to take care of Twister owners wherever we can. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, my question is this. There is one question I want to know. Are y'all thinking about doing a CS3 Pro Twister?
I mean, traditionally we don't do pro versions unless there's something drastically different. I don't know. You never know what we're working on. So
I had to pull it out there. I mean, I've seen the gun, how it looks like, and it's like it's too smooth. I'm like,
I guess the way I'll answer that question is very simply. Like, if the other guys are doing it, whoever it is, an Infamous, an HK, or whatever, we would be probably foolish not to jump in the pool too, right? But as of right now, nobody has a custom CS3 Pro.
No.
So I don't know. I mean,
Dang.
I'm not saying follow the leader, but let's see what the future holds. Right now, we're still at R5s. We're working on
Right.
R5s. We have another. I'm not going to say what it is, but we're working on another gun right now, and we don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
We have some pretty exciting stuff coming in the next month and a half, next 2 months.
Next
So
2 months are slammed.
yeah, very crazy.
Yeah,
But
I go ahead.
I mean, we're also not just guns, right? We do the Revos. We've got a
Right.
lot of other stuff that we got our hands in. So it's kind of crazy, but like guns have comprised, like R5s and high end guns have comprised very little of our time in the last couple of months. The autocockers were big, Revos, some of the other stuff we've been doing, soft goods.
Yeah, just simple stuff like joggers or the carbon protective takes up a lot of time. The Revos take up time. The profilers, for that reason, they took up a lot of time.
It really overloads our shipping department, which, by the way, you're looking at it. So, I mean, we are very much a two-man show here, right? We
Right.
do everything from the marketing, all the Facebook Live stuff, all the design work, all the graphics, shipping. Even if you're looking at shirts that we do, we print all the shirts here. We design, print everything here, banners, stickers, all the wraps on boxes. All of that we do in-house. We have all the machines here to do all of it. So,
and we have guest appearances or friends that'll help out. Like our media is usually Stephanie, she's down in Louisiana. Spencer Sunday will help us on some stuff too. Local guys like Rob Whitaker or Fabio with Vulcan or Sean Callahan,
Ron Wong,
Garrett Trombley. Like a bunch of these guys will come help when we send out the Twister beacon. We put that in the air.
We'll be like, hey, dude, we got to ship 1,000 boxes in 2 days. You want to stop by? I'll pay for pizza.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, sounds good.
But for the 95 to 99% of it, it's usually us two every day. So.
Damn.
Yep.
That's grinding. That is grinding.
Yeah, I mean, we're not a big company. I mean, some of these other guys have massive warehouses and staffs of 20, 30 guys, and it's we're very much still the roots of Boston Paintball. We're a small group, and we keep it special. We keep it limited. We keep it small. We don't want to do thousands of guns. It's just that's not what we're about, right? We'd rather just take a hyper limited thing and make it really special for the people that get it. So I mean, that's
and that's something like even with the Bolt, a lot of the comments, the marketing for the Bolt was really fun because I just took negative comments and turned them into our marketing, which
about how we suck and
yeah. But one of the comments we got after the Bolt was, why didn't you guys do a pre-order, sell 5,000 of them, and then just make 5,000 and ship them? Which, that's a great idea and it's definitely more profitable, but it's also a lot of the times it just comes down to what's manageable.
Right.
And when it's 2 guys shipping, 2 guys doing the fulfillment and the marketing,
and then the teching and the customer service for all of those. If there was an issue and you had 5,000, that's your full-time job now.
So a lot of times our projects just come down to, okay, we know we can do X. Is it manageable? Yeah. If we did Y, is that manageable? No. All right, so we're going with X.
Or we just take Y and throw it out a couple months, and just do it later, because sometimes stacking projects, because a long-term project like an autococker, right? We pre-sold that end of December. We just shipped them last week, right? And that was queued up to be 3-4 months, and it took almost double the amount of time because we made changes, we made it better. But I think a lot of guys that are autococker guys expect to wait. You're still gonna have to enter it and order parts, and like that stuff takes time. And plus, we only do autocockers every 10 years. Like we'll put an autococker out. It's not like we're doing it all the time, right? So they're willing to wait because let's face it, it's going to be worth 5 times as much money once you get it than it was when you bought it. So I think a lot of the guys are okay with just chill. And I think that we do a really good job of getting ahead of it. I think one thing that we probably do exceedingly well, better than even building guns, is our customer service, where we are constantly communicating with our customers, Facebook Lives, on Instagram Lives, with posts, emails, to let people know this is the project we got. This is where we're at with it. And to be honest, sometimes when you get in front of a camera, it could be a ticker tape parade or a firing squad that day. It sucks sometimes to deliver bad news. Sometimes you got to do it. But every now and then you put some really cool news out there, and that's great too. But that comes with the territory when you're as forward-facing as we are, There are other guys that will take money and they hide for many, many months and maybe pop up every now and then. And it's, that's not the way to do business in this day and age. I mean, we live in Amazon Prime Society. They want their
Oh,
shit
God.
now. They want to know where it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we definitely shifted gears a lot last year towards the end of the year of like we take our money and we will spend $200,000 out of pocket to have the guns here. So once you buy it, it ships to you.
Yeah.
Like we have, I mean, we can show you these things, but we got 6 guns here that we've got thousands of dollars worth of ammo and parts into. That we put that money up, knowing that when we sell it on Friday, it ships on Monday. It's gone, right? You're not going to wait months for your stuff because the longer you wait, the higher the expectation is, and the more things you'll try and find wrong with it. Like, oh God, I waited 18 months for this Lux, and it's definitely not, what I expected.
Right.
So whereas if you had gotten it in a month and a half, then you'd be like, this thing's the shit. That's just that's the psyche of kind of the consumer now. So I think that to remedy that, you gotta put some money up. You gotta change your model a little bit and adapt. So we're good at doing that. We adapt really quickly. Other guys just stay the course, and eventually you disillusion some customers. You lose some faith in your company, and eventually it wears a little thin, and people just stop buying from you. We understand that's the cycle. That's how it works. So we need to constantly put everything we have into this. That's how we survive.
Yeah, you gotta go full, and sometimes you gotta jump a leap of faith.
Yep.
You gotta jump.
Absolutely.
So this collab with I Hate Paintball, like, yes, I am going to say this. How did it all started? Because I know Austin was saying that he saw them on Instagram and stuff like that, but the idea of y'all with everything, like, what made y'all go took the chance with a Louisiana style, or let me say phrase that, a Louisiana theme, like markers and the headbands and all of that. Like, this is something I never thought would happen.
Okay, so I'm going to yield to Austin because, to be honest, I'm not going to even try and take 2% of the credit from this collab. So live or die, this is very much Austin's baby. So Austin, take it away.
This shall be good.
So like I said, saw him on Instagram when he did the enemy stuff. We work hand in hand with Mike and Rob and Will, and those guys are great. And then kind of linked up with Joe and Nick, and just started spitballing ideas. We were down in Louisiana for the Hurricanes tryout in December. Loved it. That was awesome to go down there.
I love Louisiana.
Wait. You all were there?
Yeah, we went down for the tryout.
Yeah.
We surprised them. We came down for like one day. Yeah, we were down there. We were there.
What day?
We were up in the tower. First day. I was there the first day. You were there the second.
I was there both days. I was up in the tower, kind of staying a little low key, but I was there.
We didn't tell anybody we were there. We just rolled in, like said, "Hey guys, what's up?" Like that's it. Like they had no clue. We wanted to show, like, obviously they had just lost Bianca as a coach, although Bianca was there helping out, so it was amicable. But we just wanted to show, like, I think there was a lot of rumors swirling around that they were done and like all these things, and we just wanted to show up and show, like, we're in this with you guys, like we believe in you guys, and like show a good faith, like, hey. So we out of pocket literally just decided maybe a week before.
Yeah, we flew down.
Fuck it, let's just get tickets, go down, hit Bourbon Street for a day, go chill with Drew. We just got a hotel room for the weekend or whatever, and just went down. So we walked up when they had the trials. So like, hey guys, and they had no idea we were there. It was really great. Yeah. But anyways, you can continue the.
So we were down there, loved it, and then I'm originally from Georgia, Florida area, so I'm more southern than I am northern. I would say, at least that's how I like to represent myself.
I'm Boston border race, so it's.
And so last year we did the Flag Series LV2s right after the TSL run, and the Flag Series was pretty limited, and we knew our counts and how many R5s we had, and we knew that we needed to slot something in after the Redacted Series. And we're kind of having some brainstorming ideas on what we should do, and one of the ideas was an ice cream cone or an ice cream sundae or something ice cream related. And then from that, it just kind of stemmed to like, all right, well, if we have an ice cream, when do you eat ice cream? You eat it in the summer. All right, what else do you eat in the summer? You eat a hot dog in the summer. What else is summer related?
We were just going to do food or just like all ice creams was the original idea.
Yeah, it was really going to be either ice cream or like summer theme, and not necessarily like a white trash summer theme. And then like Rocket Pop was in that list. And then we started, just throwing out more ideas, and that came the Super Soaker. And then once we said Super Soaker, it started to get a little bit more, I don't know, white trashy, I guess, because then it turned into, all right, well, what if we put a beer can on the gun. And it's like, all right, well, what if the beer can has a cigarette as the barrel?
And the beer's got to be a degenerate beer like
Yeah.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
And then
right?
what do you do when you're drunk and smoking? You go hunt. So now we're going to do duck hunting. And then how do you get to duck hunting? You go drive your rusted truck to duck hunting. And so that's just kind of how
our minds work just like bizarre.
yeah. So that's how 90% of our projects happen anyways. There was an idea for one gun out of this run that we were going to do, but another company kind of did a project apparel item that's very similar to what we wanted to do. So we switched it, and then we did Smoking the Bandit Trans Am instead.
It would have. We can tell what it would have been.
Yeah, it was going to be an Intimidator.
Dale Earnhardt
Intimidator.
Yeah.
Um,
It's already been done a bunch of times by people. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
And so I don't know when we started talking to Joe exactly. It was probably February or March. I know there's still snow on the ground here when we were talking to him. And then that kind of just turned into like, instead of calling it summer drop, we got to go a little bit more creative than that maybe. So we went just white trash summer, and it's been.
And then we just let Joe cook, right? We're just like,
yeah, we really did.
Bring us.
Really.
We gave him no like directive. We just said, think summer, think white trash summer.
Yeah.
Bring us things.
The only directive we really gave him was we told him what the 6 gun ideas were going to be, and they changed a lot, but we did let him know what the guns were going to be.
Right.
Yeah. So he got these summer straw hats. I hate Twister. Took our core pattern that's on the carbon protective, mixed in his logo, and made these guys.
He made full-on beach towels.
Yeah, beach towels.
I hate Twister beach towels.
Made some koozies.
We got no, we don't have them here, but we've got we got fanny packs, we got bottle, we got keychains. There's like
the rivets.
Rivets with like denim acid wash headbands, like it looks like you're an 80s rock star.
I think the tag on the headband is like a pressed
Levi's pressed leather thing.
So Joe and Nick, they both went all out with it, and that was great too, that they could kind of take over maybe the outsourcing and the planning side of that, because during those months, right, we were going
to events. We had Cincinnati, we had Atlantic City, we
also had the Bolt drop, we had the Revo drop, the Carbon drop, just all types of drops in between. So to be able for us to say, all right, we'll handle the guns, we'll handle kind of the bigger ticket items, and then with the smaller stuff, if you guys can outsource it and work on that, that would be great.
And as partners, you can't ask for. I mean, those guys are really, they're very, very talented. They're very committed to their craft. I know they will always say, oh, this is just a hobby. This is just silly. I know that's the way they put, and I believe that they maybe believe that to a certain extent, but they are very much professionals.
Yeah,
they're very, very good at what they do. They're very talented. And anybody that has the opportunity to work with them, I would do it. I mean, they're such good guys. It's just hard not to love anything they bring to the table. It was like, do it. Yeah, it's good.
That's kind of how the idea came about, I guess. It was really just trying to figure out what we could slot in instead of doing more flags, which the flag series for us last year was great. So it's just trying to find something either on par or a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I mean, we like to pull inspiration from obviously past runs. We do the Heritage Run, which is like all throwback famous annos, Fire Splash and Tequila Sunrise and things like that. But then we could pull some things in, like, hey, the flag series, Planet Eclipse back in 2006 did 4 guns in flags, for the Soccer World Cup. So we pulled inspiration from that, and that was a last minute pivot where Optum was like, hey, the Olympics are coming up. Like opening games are in 2 weeks. We have a bunch of LVs we need to anno. Like, why don't we just do a bunch of flags? We did like Jamaica and like the UK, and we did all these throwback ones. Then we add some new ones in, and
Rico, I think it was one.
Yeah, and then we did the drop on the opening games. And when the opening games started, we did literally at the same time we launched the guns, and that was a really cool drop too. Because again, the original flag guns were all on Egos, and that was really cool that we could go full circle with that. It's pretty neat the things we've been able to achieve, and like, I mean, I'll just show you some guns. We got guns here, but to do stuff like an ice cream sundae gun with sprinkles. I mean, the waffle cone frame is lasered and deep lasered. It's got a cherry on top. I mean, these are all really cool, little designs. Pabst Blue Ribbon with a cigarette barrel on it.
Yeah, the one that I personally like that I saw. And I don't know if y'all read the comment of it. I literally said, that was me saying, babe, I'm going broke, because it was the teal, or it kind of looked like teal blue color.
The rust bucket.
Yeah, the rust
So
bucket.
so it's a
That
it's a
one.
patinted
That
pickup truck.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I texted my girl saying this. I'm gonna go broke.
But I mean, even stuff that brings in like I'm a kid, from the '80s, so like I remember the Super Soaker, right? So
I remember the Super Soaker. I
to
used
do
to
a
have one.
Super Soaker gun with the same colors, orange tips, I mean stuff like that is really really cool.
Trans Am.
Oh yeah, the Trans Am.
We're just gonna show them all. Yeah,
I only got one.
I
left.
didn't like the. I mean, the Trans Am to me reminds me a lot of the Saints because of the black and gold.
And then this duck camo that wraps all the way around the gun too. This is just your hunting hat, right?
Right.
Real easy. But the other cool stuff is like the packaging. We have the ability here in house to do stuff like vinyl wraps for packaging. So we just replicated the Super Soaker in our own kind of unique, kind of neat way. And we can give people an experience beyond what they would get from other people, and that to us is the really cool thing. It's when you open your gun, it should be a really cool experience. Like I really admire some guys like Steve Jobs, who when you open an iPhone, it's an experience, right? Like,
Right.
and everybody's since adopted that. The way it's all laid out, the way things are laid out, it's the same experience for everybody. It's really cool. So everything that we package is exactly the same way all the time. The way the certificates in, the stickers, and the way things are, like it's all the same all the time.
Yeah.
We want to make sure everybody gets a really good experience when they open guns. It's not just tossed in,
Yeah. And
Right.
so I feel like we have a pretty good method right now too, where the beginning of the year, maybe the very tail end of the year, depending on the year, is the big drop, right? The big drop of 70 colors. They're all stock colors for the most part. And then right after that, or a few months after that, we do maybe a drop of like 25 to 50. And that is, one of our more hyper limited drops. But
like
it's
the
maybe-
TSL,
Yeah,
the
TSL,
redacted series,
That's
things like
right.
that.
It kind of gets us in the creative mindset to be like, all right, here we go. And then after that, we start our first of the super limited drops, right? So this would be the first of the super limited drop this year.
Or
Yeah.
3 more,
I
probably.
think next month is team month for us, which I mean that's no secret. We did team month last month, which is awesome. It's part sale, part fundraiser for our teams and our sponsored players. And so like that being next month, we'll have, some more products for that. And then we go into I think September after that, we have another limited series, right? And then we keep going until we eventually get to Heritage, which is kind of the
end of
kickoff
the
to
end.
platform.
Yeah, it basically bookends the drop. It's the end
Right.
of the line, and then we don't make it again, and we move on.
Yeah.
So, and that's where you get into hyper limited. Like, it'll have a 10, 15 piece barrel kit. All anno match. We'll anno the bolt to match the outside of the gun. Like stuff like that is it's the extra mile that like Heritage. There's just no limits. You can work with anybody, add any part you want. Like the gun stands, these massive aluminum gun stands are all anno matched to match the gun. Because let's face it, a lot of these guns are going to be display pieces. And it's very rare to see somebody using a Heritage gun. I mean, it happens, obviously, but like a lot of our guns, it's crazy. If I were to guess, half of our guns probably never even see fields. And that's like the hyper limited ones. And that's kind of crazy to me that like it becomes art or like collectible. But it's just some of these guns we sell, we never see them again. Like they're not pictures. There's no people using them. Like
My guess
they just get vaulted.
out of these white
Seriously?
trash summer ones. I
Yeah,
think
seriously.
probably maybe half of them get used, maybe, but I don't know. Like, hopefully they all get used.
I want them all to be used. Our goal is to let people see these things. But
they are huge wall pieces for a lot of guys, which is cool. That's a whole nother thing to think about.
The paintball collector is very much a thing, right? It is. I'm a paintball collector. I collect weird paintball stuff like prototype things and like goggles. You know what? For somebody that doesn't for somebody that doesn't play, I have so many JT goggles, like super hyper limited JT, like one-off prototypes, weird stuff that no one's ever seen, and things we tried to do and we never did, but I still have one here. So I mean, people that have seen videos over time have seen my office with all the stuff. And I'm a big Boston paintball collector. We had a bad habit before I came along that they used to sell fucking everything that wasn't bolted to the ground. They never kept anything. And it was crazy that, I mean, maybe back in the day, you didn't think you'd be a 35-year company, right? But I had to start going back and buying things from people and going, shit, that's a shoebox shocker. That's a factory team gun. All right, I'll take that. I'm buying back all these old guns from people on random groups because, like, that's our roots of our company, So, like, I'm a big car guy, right? So Carroll Shelby is one of my favorite, people of all time. But they left behind. You know, they'd go win races at Le Mans, and then they just leave the cars behind in Europe because it's too expensive to bring it back. They would just leave them, you know, and or crush them or throw them at the bottom of the ocean because they didn't want to pay tariffs when they landed, you know, with the boats. It's just kind of crazy when you think back. You know, that's. I don't think anybody thinks that when they start on a path, they're going to be in this for multiple decades. You know, so it's now we're much better about keeping things. Like
Right.
we keep at least one of kind of everything as an example. So
Try to.
we try to, yeah.
No, I mean, if I had I'm gonna be real with y'all. If I had a Twister, if I had one of y'all's guns, I would be showcasing it no matter what. And I do showcase it because I also do like, you know, videos on YouTube. Like I shoot, like there's a, you know, me shooting like through a barrel cam or my little head cam. And I like to show off products. I like to show off what I do because it's not me like, you know, giving people here in Louisiana like, hey, something to watch, but it's also giving back to the ones who, you know, who I bought this marker from. I want to show it off to show off the product.
I
And
appreciate that.
so to hear that, then you like y'all don't see y'all stuff like that's just crazy.
We see a lot of guns. I'm talking about the super hyper limited stuff, like
I
you know.
still would show it no matter what.
I
That's
know.
just me.
It's a small percentage. I wouldn't say it's a ton of guns, but when you get the hyper limited stuff, there's a good chance that you know a couple of these guns will just never see the light of day. I know one guy in particular. I'm not going to name a name, but he buys the same color every single year. It goes in his closet. He doesn't even take it out of the box. He has the same color, same serial number of every gun we've ever made, and it goes right in the closet. It's a vault. It's crazy. I know. You know, this one guy just gets bonsai. He buys every bonsai thing we ever make, and I just call him up. I won't even go to the public. I just call him, and because I want him to keep that collection going.
Right.
And that's one thing with heritage that maybe a lot of people don't know. There are guys that have complete heritage sets from us. They've bought every gun. So like a camo splash or a fire splash or a bonsai, those guys will get a call from me first and go, "Do you want it this year?" And if they say yes, they get it. That's it, because I want that collection to stay going. Because that picture is very impressive when you see a line of 10 heritage guns in the same color that one guy owns. Like that's pretty damn cool, right? So we try and take care of the people that take care of us, you know. So if that just means you get, you know, first in line, you don't have to fight the public to get what you need, that's cool. But when you've spent tens of thousands of dollars over a span, yeah, I mean, then that's obviously a perk to it, you know. But I think we've gotten a little bit better over the years about trying to make things fair for people and so people can get access to our product. But the problem is when you're hyper limited, you have this much and you have this many people that want it. You're never going to make everybody happy, right? So all you can do is give them the tools and make sure that the public does get a chance. And then at that point, it's flip a coin, roll the dice. You may get it before the next guy, but we're getting down to like microseconds of transaction.
Yeah,
of hitting pay. The first one to get the money over wins, and it's
I mean, it's kind of a simple formula, I guess. The demand is growing, at least from where we're sitting. It looks like it's growing, but the supply or the quantity is staying pretty much the same, if not shrinking.
Right.
So that, you know, inevitably is going to leave for some people to be upset, but you know, we try our best to take care of them or help out or do other drops that are less limited, right? It's like when we do Revos, they're limited, but they're limited by JT's number, and that number's fairly high. Considering when we do a drop of 6 guns, it's way more than the number 6.
I mean, we have our member group as well, and those guys, you know, they pay for the opportunity to get early access, but we'll restrict them. A lot of these guys are only allowed to buy one thing. There's a lot of things that we do to put safeguards in. So by corralling those guys to make sure they can do what they want, it gives us the ability to guarantee that when the public gets access, there's something there for them, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've gotten much better about that over the past 2 years. But at the end of the day, it's still a supply and demand thing. Like you said, it's you're never gonna, if you meet demand, then you're just like the other guys where you make thousands of guns and then it's not really all that cool anymore. So
and like those restrictions were, I mean, it's very obvious, at least for us, like an instance of that restriction working was when we did the base R5 drop, right? The 70 colors. Everybody was limited to 1 gun for Storm Chasers in their 10-minute early access. Once it goes public, it's
fair game.
Yeah, it's fair game. But that being said, they had 10 minutes. They didn't clean out every single color. They cleaned out 95% of the colors.
If you want to know negative or 007 or something, black, like, I mean,
when it did go live at 9 o'clock for the public, there were guns on the public purely because we did give the Storm Chasers restrictions.
Yep.
And once it goes public, there's 10,000 people on the site fighting for not 10,000 guns, so
I
it
was
goes
there.
fast. Yeah.
But at the
I
same
was there.
time, the Storm Chaser program is it's an interesting thing that we keep evolving and changing as we go.
Big time.
And the amazing thing is that people will complain like didn't have access, it's unfair. And it's like, well, we open up the membership on Black Friday for a full weekend, and it never sells out. It never sells out. We have 300 spots, and we have not hit 300 people.
Yeah, we've done it both years. We thought going into we're like 300 memberships. The first year we thought we were going to sell, I don't know, sub 250, which I think we're kind of
225.
right on the mark is where we thought we were going to be. And then going into year 2, we were like, it's going to sell out. And then we gave it the weekend, and it didn't. We closed it, and then within the first week of closing it, it was a flood of messages to the Instagram or his email or my email, just, can I buy the membership? Can I buy the membership? And it's closed. So maybe next year.
Locked and loaded. So I mean, again, everybody has the same equal opportunity to be at the front of the line if you want to. But also, it's not like we're paying. It's a door charge, but at the same time, like we're giving you a couple $100 worth of product and limited stuff like custom straps and custom jerseys, and like we're doing all this other stuff for you. That's basically paying off the membership, right? Just in product. So I mean, you're at that point. Even if there are some people that will buy stuff and flip it. That exists. I mean, people do that. But you can buy one product and flip it, and you've just double what you pay for your membership.
Yeah,
right. We're not encouraging people to like buy 10 of something and flip it. We don't want them to corner the market, but we know it exists. We're not stupid. Like some people do it, and it's fine. You paid a fee to have the ability to do that if you want to.
Yeah, and even with the membership, the $300 or whatever it costs up front, 400, whatever it might be, they get right off the rip, at least for this year, they got a jersey, goggle strap, tech tee, and then there might have been one other thing that they got included. So the value of that is already near $200 or $300 right from the jump. The first year we did it, we did goggle straps with Enemy of the State.
Limited ones that you can only get if you were a Storm Chaser.
And those were super cool. We didn't really think too much about it. We didn't think people were going to go and sell them. We thought people were going to go and keep them. And then next thing you know, goggle straps started getting delivered, and they started going up for.
Well, we did learn our lesson because that original one,
money.
We had a really good concept, and the idea was going to basically be we get all these goggle straps that have birthday candles on them. Yeah, we got one here. With birthday candles on them, right? And they glow in the dark. These are the candles, right? That's an Enemy Twister one. And we would ship you this on your birthday. So every month we'd ship out whatever your birthday month was, you'd get your strap. The problem is that we got so delayed that we just said, fuck it. Like, we're just going to send all the straps at once. And that was like halfway through the year.
Then they printed.
We learned our lesson, and we just didn't do that anymore.
They also printed black first.
Yeah, they accidentally made black with pink. So if you've seen those straps out there, the black with pink, that was actually an error.
Yeah.
That Enemy and us just split and just said, fuck it, we'll just sell them. Yeah, the white and pink was the original concept.
It looks good. I'm not gonna lie, that looks really good.
But I mean,
I'm not a pink guy, but I would like it. I would like.
Not everything you do works perfectly, right? Like that strap thing was delayed, and like things happen, but it's how you pivot, right? It's how you adapt. It's how you So I think that people are understanding as long as you set an expectation for them, they're not really upset, right? So that's always been kind of our thing. So.
All right. So I think right now we at the point where y'all ask me questions.
Oh, nice.
Put me on the spot.
All right. I guess I'll go first. When did you start playing paintball?
I started playing paintball in 2012 or 2011. I was about in my teenage years, and birthday party. That's how we all started. And I was playing at PBC Paintball Command in Mandeville. I got the birthday package, which was a invert mini, and well, that was before. That was when invert mini was invert mini.
Yeah, it's
before
good.
They got
for a rental gun. That's a pretty good gun for your first gun.
Yeah, and then I went to Tippmann, tried again, and then the list goes on and on.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but Paintball Command is where Rocket Kid started, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Which is
that's
where the Hurricane kind of have evolved from. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's still there. It's still there, but they just more like play like Wizzball kind of style. You don't see them play like Speedball. I mean, they do have it for like Sunday, but that's only it. But No, Paintball Command is actually doing pretty good. They got a lot of fields and a lot of people go there, but lately they haven't because of the heat, because people don't want to the heat strokes and all that. But ever since then, I've been just playing it like crazy.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Austin, what
man.
do you got? Hit 'em.
As far as the podcast goes, how and when and why, I guess it's like a three-part question, did that originate?
So I don't mind talking about it because I actually love it. Talk about when I started the Paintball Lounge. It was 2022 of August, and I was sitting down and I was watching how, we were coming back from the pandemic and we're still recovering it, because I think we fully recovered, if I'm not mistaken, late 2021. We started to really recover, like from people wearing masks and everything. And I was laying down and I was literally thinking to myself, like, what can I do? Like, what can I do to give back to the sport that actually practically saved me from doing some things I should not have been doing. Um, and my girlfriend, who watches the show, by the way, hi babe, and shout out to you. She told me, why don't you do a podcast about paintball? And I'm like, you know what? That's sound like a really great idea. And yeah, I get down to work. Like, I was trying to come up with names, and oh my god, the names is
Trust
bad.
me, we feel your pain. We have to
Yeah.
name things sometimes when we sit here and rack our brain all
I
day.
named these guns. It took an hour.
Yeah.
The names for this podcast was horrific. It was so bad. And then it came out when I was watching wrestling. I'm a wrestling fan. I was watching wrestling, and I was watching old school wrestling like ECW. Yes, I was watching
Oh no,
ECW.
don't. I'm a closet massive wrestling fan too. So
Walk-in
And
closet.
I was not watching ECW the 2008. No. I was
oh no
watching.
no, I was at ECW events like literally up here in Boston. So I've been to them when I was younger, like
Yeah, the
13,
hot,
14 years old.
like no AC, hot as
Oh yeah,
hell.
oh yeah.
And then they were chanting, the letters ECW. And then I was like, you know what? Let me see if I could try to do something with that. Let me see if I could try to make 3 letters and go from there. And it was TPL. And I'm like, you know what? Let's try the Paintball Lounge, TPL. And
Actually, a
I
pretty good
stuck with
method
it.
for naming something.
Yeah, it's just we should just do that.
Actually, pretty good.
And ever since then, I stuck with that, like the
That's
Paintball
awesome.
Lounge. And we changed different logos so many times. We did the dragon, because during that time I liked the dragon, but then some people were calling me Dynasty. They thought that the Paintball Lounge was based off of California because of Dynasty and the Blue Dragon. So that's why I changed it to the Fleur de Lis. And then I changed it to, you know what? Let's change it up again, but just change it to like a Louisiana state, because we are based off here in Louisiana. And now that's why we have the way it is now.
You should do a suggestion. Just workshopping this. You should do a throwback and do the Blue Dragon again and bring Bianca in to do for that one episode. Go back and just a little nod to his dynasty gig now. That would be kind of cool. So,
Yeah, we actually had Bianca here.
Bianca's a dude. That guy is amazing
love
person,
him.
man. What a great guy he is.
Even when him left to go work for Dynasty and everything, I still have him on Facebook and everything. I try to talk to him as now and then, but he's busy, I'm busy. So, but I'm glad that he's doing great things with Dynasty. I was so close to actually buying his Phil 1 Force, the White Tiger edition. And
I think that's the thing, right? That's an opportunity that when that comes knocking, like you take it. I mean, it's dynasty, right? Have that on your resume as a coach, that's pretty massive. And obviously, I think he would want to I think he wanted to get a win with the Hurricanes, but I think just a win as a coach in general in pro is massive. That's pretty validating, for the dedication to your craft. And I don't think anybody ever thought anything malicious. I think that he was just given an opportunity. I think he's a very, very stand-up guy, and I call me, you know, he talked to the guys, and then he called me and you know, personally, and told me before it came out that he was going to Dynasty, and he said, "Listen, just take care of my guys, you know, like take care of the Canes." And that's a pretty stand-up dude that he would call the sponsors of his former team to ensure that they would be taken care of when he wasn't there. And that says a lot about the kind of person he is. You know, he's a
Oh yeah.
really genuinely really nice guy. Um, yeah, every
And
time I see him, it brings a smile to my face. So
oh yeah, I hope he comes to Louisiana again one day, and I would love to just like hey man, because he is nothing but the sweetest guy, and even when I was starting to get bigger, you know, he would still look at me, hey, you're at the paintball lounge, like keep on doing what you're doing, like, and I still call him coach
yeah,
because I can't like call him Mr. Bianca. I just gotta call him coach.
he's
Okay.
everybody's biggest cheerleader. That's the one thing with him. He always
Oh yeah,
supports
without a doubt.
everybody and whatever you're doing. He's just such a good guy.
Oh yeah, without a
I
doubt.
have another question I just thought of for you
Go
actually.
ahead.
All right, outside of the twister, because we're here obviously, so none of that
Yeah.
nonsense. You got to pick another milled gun, right? Any milled gun in history. What do you think is the best example of milling, or like a thing that sticks out in your head?
Ah man, I can't think of one. I really can't.
Really? Wow.
The
There's a
Twister
lot for
to
us, I guess.
me just felt so much power. I mean, yes, I've seen the HK one. I had an HK Invader, and I just did not like. I mean, something about y'all's milling just it just feels right. It just feels like when you have it, you feel powerful. Like you feel like you're
Should
going
have
out
boxed.
there and bringing the storm.
There you go.
And
Yep.
believe it or
Yep.
not, believe it or not, y'all's Twister idea got me to like, you know what? I'm gonna be the storm because, and that's why when I did the whole,
You the
hey,
storm.
y'all coming on the
That.
show, I was like, you know what? Let's bring two storms into one, and that's why my intro is the lightning,
It's cool.
and I was like, this is
So, you know, I think every company has their own milling, which that's your company identity, right? And that's kind of
yeah,
what you align with and what you do, and that's cool. And it's just different flavors of ice cream for everybody, right? Some
right,
people, you know, it's and I would never yuck anybody's yum. If you like certain guys' guns, that's totally cool. Like
right,
you're supporting custom, that's fine. I mean, but I am a I don't want to say like I'm a historian of paintball, right? So I have to look at things in the past and pull some inspiration from it. But I love, you know, when Planet Eclipse was doing different milling on either sides of the gun, like the original '06 Excessive, you know, the original Iron Man Matrix, which had different milling on either side. You know, I've had so many milled guns. I've collected so many really iconic things, and they've come in and out of my collection over the years. But you know, the guys that came before us, you know, there's guys that were doing amazing, like the G-Max Shockers and the Russian Legion Shockers, the original Dynasty Waffles, and like all of these guns are amazing, you know. And for us to carve out a little niche in that history book of like, we may be in the back somewhere, and there's a little section, but I think making our mark, doing some cool stuff, and making things that are memorable, that to us is really, really cool. But everybody's trying their best with custom stuff, and everybody brings their offering to the table, and we're just glad people choose us. That's a pretty cool thing. So
yeah. I would if I had the money. Trust me, if I had the money, I would have bought a Twister
if
long.
we had the inventory, we'd help you out. We don't even have guns to sell.
It's
So
all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. Hey, I personally just like y'all really what y'all bring to the table in this industry. It's like it's not just the product. Like I said, it's just like when you have a Twister. In my book, people say, "Oh, it's just a fancy gun." Like, no, you don't understand. When you have a Twister, it's like to me, you feel powerful. You just feel like, hey, I got a really nice gun. I feel really powerful. Like, what? Like, it's just
makes you play better.
something about it. Like, hold on.
I think that it has evolved over the years to the point where like we obviously want to make something that people feel confident shooting and using, and now obviously performance wise it's a little incrementally better. But I think that people it's an identity, right? We have a
Mm-hmm.
community and a culture around our brand now. So I think that seeing another guy with a twister to field, you give a little nod, it's kind of cool. I mean, I go to fields all the time. Not a lot of people that have them know who I am, right? Like, or what I do, and I'm not wearing twister head to toe, you know. It's kind of cool just to look around and see all your guns. And I It's interesting. I played Fall the Gap, which is a big scenario event in North Carolina. It's a great time. And I went and played with the team, and Jack Wood was playing on the team at the same time. And I remember walking around, and and Jack's not wearing anything that says I'm Jack Wood. You know, he's the designer of every Planet gun ever. And you walk around, and that event was 80% Planet guns. And I just said to him, like, it's kind of cool, right? That you see all your stuff here. So many people using your stuff that you've designed and spent the time on. And he just kind of smiles. He goes, "Yeah, it's a pretty good feeling. It's not good to get shot by them. That's a little weird, but yeah, But it's yeah. I don't think we realize or look at this like some people do from the outside. I mean, what we do here, we enjoy. It's. I don't want to say it's just a job. This is our life, right? But we like that people appreciate what we do, and maybe we occasionally will take a step back, at events or things that happen and go, wow, we are doing something pretty big here. Every now and then this thing pops in your head. You go, shit, there's a line of 150 people here that started 3 hours ago to buy our stuff. And that's a gut check, for you and a little bit validating to be like, you're doing the right thing. You're doing it, and that feels pretty good. So
yeah, there's definitely some like definitive moments, I would say, over the past 2 years at least, that are just like, wow, that's crazy. And then you get a couple minutes to breathe, and then we'll go hit Applebee's after the drop.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to hit Hooters or something after this.
Yeah, we're not getting $800 steaks here. We're going to Applebee's.
Yeah.
Go to Applebee's or the local,
getting off the pick two menu.
local bowling alley that sells some sandwiches or whatever.
Buying an awful burrito next door. That's how we celebrate selling $500,000 worth of stuff.
Come back on Monday and then ship it, and then it's
business as usual.
Yeah, head down until the next one. But
every now and then you get some. We've had some drops in here that you watch them and it's stressful, and it's like I've had 2 kids. Well, my wife had 2 kids, so I've been there, right? And it's stressful. You'll sit when a drop's happening and just go, shit. Like,
yeah, there's one of those moments is right before we did the R5 drop, like minutes before. We have security cameras in the shop, and I was sitting here.
I was laying on the table
right after the drop, but before the drop, I think I said something along the lines of like, I'm nervous. He said he's about to throw up. I was like, should we call somebody to help us out?
We should call somebody to help. But who's going to help us?
And this was like 45 seconds before we had to hit go, just because it is nerve wracking. Confidence wise, you want to be like, we're going to sell out in seconds and it's going to be great. But then there's always some sort of,
what chaotic wrench is going to get thrown into this drop, right? And we've had them. We've had them, and we're very quick to remedy or whatever. But I think when we did like the CS3 and LV2 drop initially, where people had passwords, and then like we had thousands and thousands of people pound the site at the same time, and Shopify deployed, security things to like log people out, and like it was just a nightmare. People locking themselves up because they used the password wrong too many times. And so we needed to make sure now we learn from things, we evolve, our drops get better, we're a little bit more calculated. So
and there'll be something that pops up next, right? Whether hopefully it's not on this drop, but there'll be something else, some wrench that gets thrown in a drop, and it just learn to adapt with it. But
roll with it.
Yeah,
that's it. It's the name of the game.
It's always nerve wracking.
All right. Well, cool. I think we hit our time mark. Because,
awesome, dude. Yeah, this has been really fun.
My dog needs to go to the bathroom, and she's looking at me like, I need to go.
I'll take that dog out.
Yeah, because before she pees in my room, and I don't want her to do that because that's But I would like to thank y'all for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome, and keep on doing. And if y'all have not bought anything, watch out for the drop for the I Hate Paintball. That's
this Friday.
This Friday.
Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern.
And if y'all want to get a marker from them or soft goods or anything, and maybe you should make the shirt said this: "Get Twisterfied."
We're gonna do that.
Hey, remember who told you about it first?
Well, your royalty check's in the mail.
Yes. All right. Well, I'll catch y'all later. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
See you, man.
Peace.